I am tired of the amount of gaslighting us single people have to go through. Because let's be honest, a lot of the things that our friends in relationships can get for free, we have to pay for. And there's no amount of self-love or therapy that can kind of circumvent the frustration that being single is very expensive. Because if, an example, I am sick, I don't have anyone who can cook for me. My friend can ask her boyfriend to cook for her. I have to DoorDash something. If I need help moving something in my house, I need to go find someone and pay that person to come over and move it. Well, my friend can just ask her partner. And all those things just add up. If you lose your job, you have someone who can help you with rent. If you are having like financial trouble or health trouble, you now need to like disclose that to your family or friends, which might be embarrassing, or you can tell your one husband or your wife to help you through that. It is so frustrating to have to go through so many things alone and make these really big decisions, hard decisions completely by myself. I have my friends, I have my family, I love them, I can lean on them, but maybe I don't want to tell them all about my finances. Maybe I don't want to have to over-explain my entire health condition to them. Maybe I just need someone to help me with a real quick task that I don't want to have to pay someone or wait for someone to drive across town to come help me. And it is so frustrating because we're told that, being single is great. And it's really great when compared to an unhealthy relationship. But being single is not always better than having a healthy relationship. Don't get me wrong, I am not going to go hop into a relationship with a man just so I can have someone. But I do think we need to be honest that being single, while it can be really great, is also very impractical sometimes.
You know what's funny? The same women who told men they don't need them are now realizing they can afford not to. Being single as a woman used to be a statement of freedom. Now it's becoming a luxury, one most women can't even afford. And in this economy, that independence women bragged about is turning into isolation. We have built a culture that worships independence, but forgot that survival has always depended on interdependence, men and women supporting each other. And now, modern women are waking up to that harsh reality. The very system that told women to be strong and self-sufficient is now leaving them to pay the bill alone. Let's get into it.
I really didn't realize that one of the most expensive decisions of my life would actually be staying single. Being single is excruciatingly expensive in this world, like straight up monetarily. No one to split rent with, no one to split groceries with, no one who has your back when maybe you need a little support and can't pay your bills one month. No one buying you little treats and gifts that you wish you could get for yourself. No one splitting the cost of hotel rooms when you travel. Never getting +1s to anyone's weddings or events, and having to pay for everything completely by yourself, including the gift. Not getting married means paying more taxes. Never having anyone to help with a down payment and a home. No one to sign as guarantor in case you need it. I think it's actually one of the most effed up parts of society, because as more and more people either choose to stay single or stay single because the quality of partners in this world are so terrible, life continues to get more and more and more expensive. And that is the consequence of singlehood that I don't think a lot of us really expected.
I swear, being single sometimes is so complicated because, you want somebody, but then you like your freedom, but then, being independent is cool, but then also you're really tired of paying bills. Is there a middle ground? Because I don't need a man, but I want one. Eventually, the right one. The one that doesn't get offended at my jokes. But moral of the story, I'm tired.
You've heard it all before from modern women. I don't need a man. I can do bad all by myself. It used to sound empowering, like a battle cry for modern independence. But now, that same independence for women is starting to look more like exhaustion. What she's saying here isn't rare. It's the quiet truth behind the feminist highlight reel. Being single, especially as a woman, was sold as freedom. But what's freedom when it's chained to debt, stress, and loneliness? Let's be real. Independence looks good on Instagram. But in real life, it's a full-time job with no benefits.
No one is talking about how if you live in this economy, this day and age, and you are single and you pay all your bills yourself, don't have no help, you a badass. Because, baby, the price tag is high over here.
The truth is, independence works best when the economy is booming. But right now, the rent is brutal. Food costs are up. Living solo means paying double for everything couples split. Modern women think that is weakness, but that's partnership. Something society convinced her to dismiss. See, the economy doesn't care about your gender politics. The market doesn't care about empowerment slogans. What we're witnessing now is reality putting feminism on trial. And the verdict is in, you can't out-empower economics. And now, with the SNAP cuts, food stamp reductions, and government benefits shrinking, a lot of women, the same ones the system claimed it would empower, are starting to feel the pressure hit home. For years, many women believed they didn't need men because the government had replaced them. Subsidies replaced support, welfare replaced partnership. But now that the safety net is tearing, the truth is showing. The independence women were promised was never free. It was financed. And when those benefits start drying up, reality hits. The same women who said, "I don't need a man," are now saying, being single by choice isn't an easy lifestyle. You can't have it both ways. You can't dismiss men and then cry foul when the system stops picking up the tab. Because at the end of the day, the system doesn't love you. It doesn't protect you. It just funds you until it can't anymore. And that's when many women start realizing the man they didn't need wasn't just a provider. He was a partner in survival. Here's what a lot of single women don't want to talk about: the mental and emotional tax of singleness. No one to help when you're sick. No one to share rent. No one to talk through major life choices. And before someone says, "Well, that's what friends are for," stop. Friends have their own lives. You can't call your best friend at midnight because your leg hurts, but you can call your man. This is not about dependency. It's about reality. Modern culture told women to trade stability for independence, but no one told them independence would come with a lifetime subscription to loneliness.
So here's 3 reasons that I am 60 and single. First of all, I divorced on year 29 of my marriage. I left at 54, 6 years ago, so I'm still single. Secondly, when you're meeting guys now, they jump to conversations that are way more intimate than what I desire to be in getting to know you. So that's out. Explicit with things that, no, I'm just meeting you. Absolutely not. Then they want to ask you questions and make you feel like you want to interview. Like, what do you do? What do you like to do when you're not working? What do you like? Maybe it's just me, but I don't like to feel like I'm being interviewed for the role, interviewed for the job. Like, can we just talk and talk about things, talk about the world, talk about what's going on, and then let things just flow organically. But as far as the succession of questions, making me feel like I have to answer the questions correctly to be chosen, I'm not on that time. I'm just not about that life. I'm just not going to do that. Let's just talk. And then I say, oh, I painted this, or I made this, or I went here. Let's just talk. Let's just let it flow. Can we get back to being organic in conversation, please?
She was married for 29 years. Then one day she decided she wanted more freedom, more excitement, more of that spark modern culture promised. 6 years later, at 60, she's sitting alone in front of a camera explaining how hard dating has become. She says today's dating scene is full of men who lead with intimacy and not connection, that the conversations feel forced, like interviews, not interactions, and that she longs for something more organic, more natural, like it used to be. But here's the question nobody's asking her. What did she expect to find? The dating pool she's diving into isn't filled with her peers. It's filled with men who've already seen how the game works, and younger women who play it better. The men she wants, the stable, mature ones, they're not looking for new adventures at 60. They're looking for peace, not competition. It's not cruelty, it's reality. Modern dating doesn't reward late entries. It punishes them, especially for women who believe they could pause commitment, walk away from decades of partnership, and still find the same loyalty waiting outside. She says she misses organic conversation. That's understandable, we all do. But that kind of connection doesn't exist in a world built on swipes and self-interest. The truth is, what she's really missing isn't old-school romance. It's the depth that comes from years of shared history, something only time, patience, and loyalty can create, like the one she created with her ex-husband whom she left after 29 years. Maybe the real tragedy isn't that men have changed. It's that so many women were convinced to walk away from what they already had, only to discover that the grass on the other side was just an illusion painted green by modern culture. Single at 60? Ma'am, you should join the Salvation Army.
I don't work currently.
Does your man support you?
Yeah, he supports me.
Okay, he supports you. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If he be like, listen, I don't want you wearing that, take that off, what you doing?
Asking him why.
Okay, rent due. And you're like, hey, baby, can you pay this for me? And he asks you, why?
Well, he wouldn't ask me why because he already know when it's due.
Look at that. He wouldn't even ask you why because he already know when your rent is due. So he's being proactive to take care of you. Shouldn't you know to do your job just like he knows to do his job?
My body, my choice, what I want to put on.
It's his wallet, his choice.
And he chose.
Okay, it seems that his love is more genuine than yours.
Then that's okay.
If you watching this right now, brother, run.
And that right there, that's the modern paradox. The same women who say they're tired of doing everything alone don't actually want a man. They want a sponsor they can ignore. You can't cry about the cost of singleness, then reject the structure that comes with partnership, because leadership and provision go hand in hand. If a man is covering the rent, the bills, the groceries, he's not just spending money, he's building stability. But when modern women say, my body, my choice, while living off his wallet, that's not empowerment. That's entitlement disguised as independence. Feminism told women they could be equal, but equality without accountability isn't equality at all. It's chaos. You can't want a traditional man's wallet and a modern woman's freedom. It's a contradiction that destroys relationships from the inside out. The truth? The man's love looks more genuine, because his love shows up through action, sacrifice, and financial care. Meanwhile, her love often stops at comfort, and when that's the exchange, it's not a partnership, it's a transaction.
It's expensive to be single, and nobody really talks about that. So, a year and a half ago, I ended up moving in with my cousin. We made a strategic decision to move in together. And I looked at her and I was like, you know what? You single, I'm single. Why don't we move in together? And what we ended up doing is creating a double income, no kid, think household. And I remember I ended up writing an article about this, and somebody was like, I never thought about it. I always thought about dinks as married people who make dinks. I made a dink with my cousin, right? Double income, no kid household. Now, here's the thing. Me and my cousin can both afford to live on our own. But by moving in together, what we did is we combined our finances and were able to put back so much money by moving in together. But outside of that, it's very expensive to be single. At the end of the day, married people have two incomes coming into that household. So if one person during this recession that is coming up loses that job, there is some other person to fall back on. Me as a single woman, if I lose that job, there is no second income. But for me, I always want to ensure I have multiple streams of revenue, multiple streams of top line coming in, because as a single woman, I want to ensure I am thinking about my long-term success. And that's the reality of it's expensive to be single.
2 women, 2 incomes, no kids. Essentially a dink household, but without the husband part. And honestly, we're going to see a lot more of this. Female pairing partnerships, women teaming up to survive an economy that's not built for solo living. It's a clever move on paper. Combine expenses, split the rent, share the bills. But let's be real for a second, it's not security, it's survival. Because at the end of the day, That cousin isn't going to protect you when danger shows up at the door. She's not going to provide stability when you lose your job, or emotional leadership when life starts to feel heavy. That's not how women are wired, and that's not what men are built for. A man provides not just income, but security, direction, and emotional grounding. He's the fortress, the structure, the stabilizer that balances chaos with calm. So while many women are pairing up to cope with the cost of living, they're also quietly proving a point they don't want to admit, that independence in the real world is expensive, emotionally and financially. And maybe, just maybe, the partnership women truly need isn't with another woman for convenience, but with a man who leads, protects, and provides. And in a world that keeps telling women they can do it all alone, balance might just be the one thing money can't buy. Now here's the irony. The same men women dismissed as unnecessary are the ones holding society together. Men build the houses, fix the cars, keep the lights on. But modern culture told women that needing men makes them weak. Strength isn't about doing everything alone. Strength is knowing when to lean on someone who's got your back. But feminism turned leaning into losing. And now many women are paying for it, literally and emotionally. Being single isn't always better than a healthy relationship. That's the most honest line in the entire rant, because she's finally admitting what society won't. There's a difference between being independent and being alone. Let's face it, the Strong and Independent movement was a great marketing campaign. Sold books, workshops, and self-help podcasts. But what it didn't sell was a sustainable life.
Modern women are now realizing that having it all means paying for it all, alone. Men didn't disappear, they just stopped volunteering to be unappreciated. And in this economy, everyone's starting to see that partnership is not outdated, it is survival. That's it, fellas. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your comments below. See you in the next one.